Hi, this is Scott from Heretical Sraffa. Today's December 20th, 2017. Listen, we've been hit here in the United States with some really bad news with respect to the passage of this really awfully regressive and inequality laced tax bill. This entirely regressive tax bill that is by all measures just a complete ideological gimme to the wealthy, and I hope that we can, as a discipline, and I'm saying this especially to the economists out there, all economists, certainly the heterodox economists out there, we need to reflect, but all economists out there too. I try not to be overly political in terms of how I come across. I mean, of course, my politics aren't hidden, but I don't know it all. I'll be open and admit that. I want to have a dialogue. I can assure you that my comments will be mindful, and I'll try to think about these things. I've had some experiences. I've been fortunate in my long life to have very rich experiences, and let me just say, generally speaking, not every rich experience in life is fun. You know, I've learned and grown tremendously from some of the more challenging experiences that I have, and all of us, and indeed continue to have. And I think that needs to inform, I think, a little bit more about the way in which we understand life generally. One of the problems I have with economics, many of them, but this overemphasis on happiness. I mean, what does it mean to be happy? I mean, is it all about happiness? How about sustainability? How about, reproducibility just in a social sense? How about everything that is good for you might not be happy? I mean, at the time, I guess. I mean, a more holistic way, I guess a yin and yang kind of way to understand the totality of life, right? I mean, this is ultimately what we need to do, as opposed to having this one way approach to what the human condition is of being this utility maximizing model. It's not, number one. But number two, even if it is, why can't we endeavor to change that? It might not be the best of our nature. I said this in the last post, but I think it's really important then as economists, and this is the deal. That's what I'm trying to reach out to my fellow economists out there. And for you young generation, for sure, man, think on different lines, please, because the way in which the manner of thinking to which you are inheriting is flawed and unsustainable. I'm telling you that, for economics especially. Okay, philosophy, there's the science there. Religion, I mean, that's the real condition, and that will go on. We'll have philosophical queries and inquiries and ideas after capitalism is over, and we'll have, what Fred Lee used to refer to as social provisioning after capitalism is over. But we won't have economics, right? Not as it's currently taught, in my estimation. And again, take what I say with a grain of salt. But we won't have economics after capitalism. We'll have a much more scientific way to understand how use values, resources are distributed, how they're produced. It won't be based on this crass profit maximization model that that a large majority of economists at a theoretical level know, and a professional level know. And the question is, why ain't we out in the streets? I put that on a Facebook post today. Economists need to be out in the streets right now. They are using justifications that are based on so-called economic science in order to implement a very violent and regressive tax bill. Violent. People will be losing their lives and are losing their lives because of this situation, which will only exacerbate. And I think that as professional heterodox economists, it is our responsibility to step up. And I say this respectfully. I'm not indicting anybody. We need to rethink the way in which we approach matters. And to that effect, I will say, right, we're having we have the the Routledge Handbook of Heterodox Economics. It's edited by Taihi Zhou, Lynn Chester, and Carlo De Lupoliti. And we are going to be presenting sessions on that, talking about different entries in that. The idea here is to go peer-to-peer and to try to articulate to mainstream economists, mindful mainstream economists, that there is an alternative way to think about matters, that we don't have to go down this dark, dark path, which indeed we are. And that's the key, the message that I want to say to my fellow economists out there. Let's all step up now. Okay, let's not complain. We can complain, but let's organize and let's step up. I think we should be in the streets. I think we should convey to our respective local media, hey, economics is more than this. Hey, there's a problem with this, and we need to organize ourselves. I'm going to be at the ASSA in Philly. There's going to be many of us are going to be there. Maybe we can organize some legally mandated and allowed pickets. I don't know. All these things are going to, or not. I mean, there's a lot to organize too, and it can't all fall on my shoulders either. We need to all step up, and that's what I'm trying to say to us all, and young economists especially, and mainstream economists who want to think a different way. I got a lot out of interacting with some of the Austrians who came to the Sraffa session at the Southerns. Very good. I mean, we need to have a truly open dialogue, because people in power are determining what the narrative is, are determining what science is, and that is not tenable. And we need to create a space to have the breadth as well as the depth of what economic inquiry actually is. We need to have that space to allow our science to flourish, to actually develop, and to call out, trite ideology. I mean, to trickle down doesn't work, and we all know that. Yet it's happening, and we're not in the street. And I say that relatively euphemistically, but also let's get out in the street. Let's organize pickets. Let's get out there and actually say no, not in our name. Okay, not in the name of economic science are you allowed to do that. And I think that's up to us to have that voice. Okay, so all right, so we'll see you guys online. I'll be putting stuff up, and hang in there. Okay, I say that to myself too. Okay, all right, take care. Peace. Ciao.